The war arc, the war arc, the war arc. Oh god, where do I begin? Probably the most polarizing arc of the anime. Some people love it, and some people love to shit on it. And while I did love a lot of the war arc, I do understand where a lot of people are coming from. The war arc is when scaling went out the window in Naruto. And it's also what introduced all the 6 paths and Otsutsuki stuff. And what's confusing as well is how the arc lasted for half of Shippuden and yet was only 3 days essentially in the timeline. And you get so many crazy events packed into this short period, like this must have been the craziest time to be alive if you were a ninja. Like we got 2 separate 10 Tails Jinchurikis. And look at how absurd and packed the arc is. I decided that I might as well do the internet a service, so welcome to the ultimate guide of Naruto's war arc. Like I said before, the war arc spans only 3 days. Let me first go over the background behind the war arc briefly. The 4th Great Ninja War, with the Allied Shinobi Force comprised of all the 5 great nations, in addition to the Land of Iron on one side, and the Akatsuki, or what remained of the Akatsuki, teamed up with Kabuto and his army of the undead. Who would have thought that Orochimaru's lab assistant would become a major player in the war arc? The Allied Shinobi Forces is comprised of 9 divisions, with 5 divisions belonging to the Battle Regiment, and 4 additional supporting divisions. The 1st division is the Mid-Range Battle Division led by Darui. The 2nd is the Short-Range Battle Division led by Kitsuchi of the Stone. The 3rd is the Long to Mid-Range Division led by the Copy Ninja himself, Kakashi Hatake. The 4th is the Long Range Division led by Gaara, who was the regiment commander for the entire Great Battle Regiment. And the 5th was called the Special Battle Division, and their duty was to provide support to divisions that required additional assistance. The other 4 divisions that were not part of the Battle Regiment were supporting units, such as the Surprise Attack Division led by Kankuro, the Logistical Support and Medical Division led by Shizune, the Intelligence Division led by Inoichi, and the Sensor Division led by Ao. Both the Intelligence and Sensor Divisions were located at the headquarters, right alongside the Kage and Shikaku, who'd been named the Chief Strategist for the Allied Shinobi Force. There was also a special unit tasked with protecting the feudal lords of the 5 great nations that was led by the 5th Mizukage. Now let's try to pinpoint when the war actually starts. The first day begins after Gaara gives a speech that inspires the shinobi from different villages to put their differences aside, even if briefly. Then the divisions depart to different fronts. The first actual battle that occurs is when Kabuto captures Anko and sends Deidara to deal with her team. And soon after, the diversion platoon, consisting of Deidara, Sasori, Shukichi, and Shin, are sent to ambush the Surprise Attack Division. How ironic. Meanwhile, Zabuza, Haku, and a bunch of reanimated Kekkei Genkai users, and the entire 7 ninja swordsmen are sent to fight Kakashi's 3rd company. A swarm of white Zetsu alongside Ginkaku and Kinkaku, Asuma, Dan Kato, Hiyashi, and Kakuzu are sent to face Darui's 1st company. Gaara's 4th company is at a standstill with a group consisting of the 3rd Raikage, 2nd Tsuchikage, 2nd Mizukage, and the 4th Kazekage. Kankuro's company manages to deal with Deidara and Sasori, but when reinforcements consisting of Hanzo of the Salamander, Lady Chiyo, and Kimimaru arrive, they get overwhelmed. And then Mifune's company is sent to aid them. Meanwhile, Kakashi manages to seal both Zabuza and Haku, but now they still have to deal with the rest of the 7 ninja swordsmen. Ginkaku and Kinkaku give Darui's division a run for their money, but with the help of Ino's mind transfer, they manage to catch Kinkaku lacking and seal him. Meanwhile, Black Zetsu is hunting for the feudal lords to use them as a bargaining chip for the Jinchuriki. Mifune defeats Hanzo, Ino Chikacho faces the reanimated sensei, and Black Zetsu faces the Mizukage and her guards. As the sun is setting, Naruto finally starts realizing how sketchy everyone's been acting, and once he finds out about the war, both him and Bee break through the barrier of Turtle Island, while Toby visits Darui's company and steals the gourd in which Ginkaku and Kinkaku's juicy Ninetales chakra was sealed. Nighttime of the first day has come, and there are random killings taking place across the different war divisions. Then back to the medical division, Sakura uncovers that white Zetsu are able to mimic a person's chakra nature. which is something that even sensory ninja can't sense, and hence, the army of white Zetsu have been impersonating allies and using it to sneak into allied camps and launch surprise attacks. Meanwhile, Naruto and B are confronted by the Hokage and Raikage, with the Raikage going on the offensive against Naruto. However, Naruto pulls a yellow flash and shows him that he's above his level. I swear these blondes be dunking on the Raikage. Back in headquarters, after reading through many scrolls, Shikaku finds out that Naruto's new KCM can sense out the white Zetsu intruders. And with the Raikage finally giving his approval, the first day ends with Naruto joining the battlefield. Going on to the second day, which is probably the longest day to ever exist in the story's timeline. No, seriously, the second day begins with Naruto entering the battlefield and ends with Kaguya's defeat. It is absurdly long. It's where a ton of the war occurs, so let's not waste time anymore and get to it. Due to the panic and paranoia spread across the divisions, due to White Zetsu's convenient ability to mimic a person's chakra, and Naruto being the only one that can tell them apart since he can sense malice or negative emotions, Naruto creates several clones and sends them to every company to essentially solo the war. Meanwhile, the four Kage facing Gaara's fourth company begin their move. Onoki faces his predecessor, the second Tsuchikage, while Gaara has a brief and emotional reunion with his father, the fourth Kazekage. And when a clone of Naruto joins the fourth company, they're able to defeat almost every Kage. Meanwhile, Naruto's main body, traveling with B, comes in contact with Kabuto's second and third strongest assets, that being Itachi Uchiha and Nagato. While Naruto and B are getting cooked, Itachi pulls a big Chad move and manages to break out of Kabuto's control and saves Naruto and B. He then proceeds to school Naruto and takes it upon himself to deal with Kabuto. Meanwhile, Naruto's clones have rendezvoused with every division, and most of the white Zetsu and the remaining ninja have been dealt with. You'd think that the war was shifting in the tide of the allied shinobi forces, but no. If only they had any idea what was coming. Kabuto had to revive this guy. This is when a lot of people believe that the real war began. Madara flexes on the Shinobi Alliance and it seems like no one can even come close to this guy. He even drops 2 meteors on those sorry fools. So the allies decide to bring out the big guns, and they send the 5 Kage to take down Madara. Meanwhile, Naruto and B are headed to face the guy they believe to be Madara, who's now got the Rinnegan and is controlling 6 bodies. And it's 6 Jinchuriki at that. LMAO, and these guys thought they were almost done with the war. Sasuke's finally come out of wherever he was hiding, and he runs into Itachi. Speechless, Sasuke chases his brother down and tries to get him to explain himself. But Itachi does what he's always done best and ditches Sasuke to find his way to Kabuto. But Sasuke catches up to him and they decide to face Kabuto together. Meanwhile, Naruto and B are overwhelmed with having to face 6 Jinchuriki, so Kakashi and Might Guy show up as reinforcements. And back to the battlefield where the 4th company was fighting, Madara flexes the DNA he implanted from his homeboy Hashirama and talks shit to the Kage, while effortlessly dealing with all 5 of them. Every time they have him backed in a corner, he shrugs them off. It gets so bad that at a certain point he creates 25 clones so that they can face the same 5-to-1 odds that he was facing, while he's just chilling and watching. It's obvious at this point that the only way they can stop the reanimated Madara is to take care of the Jutsu caster. Back to Naruto and his effort of removing the black chakra receivers from each Jinchuriki to stop the masked man's control over them, and Kurama, the 9-tailed fox, finally decides to join forces with the Jinchuriki brat, and gives him a cool new cape too. Going back to the brothers, Kabuto displays his new Godly Sage mode, which prompts Itachi to use a new forbidden Uchiha Genjutsu, a counter to the Izanagi, the Izanami, where he traps Kabuto in a loop, and once Kabuto's in the loop, he makes him undo the reanimation jutsu. As the sun sets, the souls of the reanimated shinobi finally rise to rest, giving us a really wholesome moment. Same thing happens to Madara's soul. Itachi then finally reveals the truth to Sasuke and gives his brother the acknowledgement he'd yearned for so long. Nighttime, and just as the Kage were starting to feel hopeful again, Madara rescinds the jutsu contract seal. The Kage really didn't know what to do at that point. Sasuke is still perplexed as to why Itachi would go so far for the village that used him, so he brings back Orochimaru. Yup, he was apparently chilling in Anko's curse mark all this time. And they go to the leaf to revive this all-knowing. Meanwhile, the masked man feeds the ghetto statue the gourd in which Gin and Kin's chakra was sealed, and decides to revive the Ten Tails prematurely. He also decided to hold off Naruto and the gang by himself. And he actually does a decent job until Kakashi uncovers that Tobi's time space is the same as his Kamui, and the masked man's finally unmasked, which triggers Kakashi's PTSD a bit. Madara joins him, and after effortlessly defeating all the Kage, the two Uchiha hold their ground while the Ten Tails is resurrecting. Then the entire Shinobi Alliance joins Naruto, though it's just an army of fodder, so it doesn't really matter. The Ten Tails is revived, though it's looking kinda like a junkie of sorts. Obito is getting annoyed with Naruto's resolve and how he resembles Kid Obito and the hopes that he gave up on, so he attacks the Shinobi Alliance in hopes of breaking his will. But that only serves to strengthen it and give the fans a moment between Naruto and Hinata. Poor Neji though. Naruto awakens his main character Jesus powers, and he manages to share his chakra with pretty much everyone in the Shinobi Alliance. Obito also takes Kakashi into their dimension to settle things. Meanwhile, Sasuke reveals that this all-knowing is the first 4 Hokage, that Orochimaru revives from the Reaper's belly. While Tobirama is ready to eliminate the Uchiha on sight, Hashirama takes the time to explain to Sasuke the history of the village, and the fact that he actually bothered and didn't treat him like an angsty brat, unlike a certain racist. Sasuke decides to help the Shinobi Alliance, and the Hokage depart to the battlefield. So while the Alliance is getting wrecked by the Jubi, the Hokage pull up to save the day, and Hashirama subdues the Ten Tails like it's his ill-mannered pet, and the 4 Hokage create a barrier around the Ten Tails. Madara is beyond excited to see his revived rival, and Kakashi, not having much luck getting to Obito, decides to take him down. The Ten Tails spits out some clones, and the Konoharukis finally do something useful, but they still get outshined by Team 7. Oh yeah, I didn't mention, Sasuke's back fighting alongside Naruto and Sakura. Minato finds out that he can use the KCM as well, since his son is named the Nine Tails. Meanwhile, in the Kamui dimension, Obito gets Kakashi to shove a Raikiri right through his heart, parallel to how he did the same thing to Rin, in order to remove the curse seal Madara placed on his heart so that he can become the Ten Tails Jinchuriki. Madara tries to revive himself by forcing Obito to use Rinne Rebirth, but Obito fights it off, and we get an emotional moment where Minato finds out that Obito was the one that attacked the village. Obito, now becoming the Ten Tails Jinchuriki, learns how to control the Jubi by using images of Team Minato, and wants to launch the Infinite Tsukuyomi ASAP. He even tries to convince the Shinobi to willingly follow his cause, but Naruto, Sasuke, and the Hokage shut him down. Meanwhile, Madara finally faces Hashirama, and they both fight each other to a stalemate. Naruto and Sasuke manage to press Obito, and with the portion of the Bijou chakra that Naruto had, he manages to tear and tug at the tailed beast sealed within Obito. Obito has doubts in his plan, and it's that weakened resolve that causes the sword of Nunoboku to shatter, and they succeed in extracting the Ten Tails from him. Now that he's no longer a threat, Naruto and the rest go to deal with Madara and leave Kakashi and Minato to handle Obito. Now in the same position as Nagato, Obito wants to revive all those he killed with the Rinnegan, but Black Zetsu hijacks his body and revives Madara instead, and Madara fully comes back to life. Now we get to the portion of the show that a lot of people like to call Madara Shippuden, because he becomes a real menace once revived. He manages to restrain Hashirama, off-screen and pretty much no-diff Tobirama, kill Sasuke, and solo/seal all the tailed beasts in the ghetto statue, ripping the Nine Tails right out of its Jinchuriki, killing the main character. Meanwhile, Swirly Zetsu, the same one that loves to talk about poop, is able to summon 100 armed Buddha, which keeps the entire Shinobi Alliance at bay. Gaara races with Naruto to Minato so that he can save him by sealing the yang half of Kurama into him, and Black Zetsu, that's attached to Obito, intercepts. Madara arrives to collect his other eye, but Obito manages to overpower Black Zetsu, steal some Bijou chakra and some Six Paths chakra from Madara, and goes to save Naruto in his Kamui dimension. As Kabuto, who's now a changed man, tries to save Sasuke by infusing Hashirama cells into him. Both Naruto and Sasuke, on a different plane of consciousness, meet the Sage of the Six Paths, who helps them unlock their new powers, and gives them the Sun and Moon seal that could seal Madara, as Might Guy opens the 8th gate to fight Madara. Although Guy is a monster, Madara's 10 Tails regen is on another level, and just as he's about to kill Guy, Naruto and Sasuke jump him with their new powers. Madara gets a tad overwhelmed, so he steals Kakashi's eye. This part never sat well with me. And goes to retrieve his other eye. And when he returns, he only has Team 7 to deal with. But when he awakens the third eye, he's able to cast the Infinite Dream. And Sasuke manages to protect his teammates from the light of the moon. But everyone else that isn't a reanimated ninja gets trapped in the Infinite Tsukuyomi. When Madara comes back to finish them off, he gets backstabbed by Black Zetsu, and it leads to the most controversial plot twist in all of Naruto. Black Zetsu explains that the Infinite Tsukuyomi is actually a jutsu used to gather a large amount of chakra, and Madara begins to expand and transform into Kaguya, the sage's mother, where she wants to devour their chakra. She also can change dimensions with her forehead eye. Since Naruto and Sasuke have the seals, she decides to split them up by sending Sasuke to another dimension, and proceeds to swat Naruto's shadow clones like mosquitoes. Meanwhile, Obito, once he regains consciousness, decides to find Sasuke by traversing Kaguya's dimensions with the help of Sakura. Naruto can only keep Kaguya at bay for so long, but even though he's fighting the being that's the progenitor of chakra, he actually does pretty well against her, and Sakura and Obito finally find Sasuke. Kaguya is sick of all of these guys' shit, so she sends them all to a dimension with a strong gravitational pull that even affects her. And before she kills Naruto and Sasuke, Kakashi and Obito intercept it, and Obito saves Kakashi's life. Then now, since Obito's a good boy, he gets rewarded with Rin in heaven. And then he kamuis out of the afterlife to give Kakashi his eyes. And Naruto throws a Rasen Shuriken enhanced with the Bijuu's chakra, which reacts violently with the 10 tails within Kaguya, and she transforms into this thing. Kakashi then comes out of nowhere with a perfect Susanoo and the most busted ability in the series. With the overwhelming hacks that Kakashi got, Naruto and Sasuke managed to close in on her, and Sakura is useful for once, and they manage to seal Kaguya. Then the Sage of the Six Paths calls for the spirits of all the former Kage, and they summon Team 7 back to the world of the living. Naruto bids farewell to his dad Minato, Hashirama bids farewell to Madara, and Kakashi bids farewell to Obito. And finally, the second day comes to an end. Phew! So we're finally at the third day, and now Obito's dead, Madara's dead, Kaguya's sealed, and Naruto and Sasuke just need to do the hand seal, and with Naruto's Six Paths chakra and Sasuke's Renegon, the Infinite Tsukuyomi will be undone. So everything's good now, right? Well, Sasuke thinks it's the best time to announce that he's gonna execute the current 5 Kage, all the Bijuu, and Naruto himself. Haha, yeah. Even Gramps' Sage of the Six Paths was like, nah, I'm done with this shit. Oh yeah, and he puts Sakura under a Genjutsu. And now Naruto and Sasuke stand on the same statues that they fought on 3 years ago. Sasuke now embodies Itachi's old philosophy, that he's gonna take on the entirety of the shinobi world's hatred by himself, not knowing that Itachi himself had changed his ideology after realizing his mistakes, and that he'd passed on his new philosophy to Naruto, that he can't do everything by himself. That's what Naruto was trying to get through to Sasuke, but talking all this out was never an option. Naruto and Sasuke head straight to battle. Both had advanced way beyond the level that they were at the last time they fought, and they were now the 2 strongest beings on Earth. During the events of the 5 Kage Summit, Sasuke gives Naruto an ultimatum: either kill me and become the hero of the village, or get killed by me and become a loser. And Naruto said that he wouldn't choose either option. Now Sasuke was coming at him with all that he got. And on top of that, he collects the chakra of all the tailed beasts, pushing Naruto to go all out. Their titanic clash begins to alter the terrain around them and reshapes the Valley of the End. But even when they're low on energy, they keep fighting until the sunset, until they have one last clash. Fast forward to the nighttime, and both of them are flat out on the ground. And Naruto actually did it. He didn't pick option A or B. He managed to stop Sasuke from destroying the village without killing him, as now they were both in a state where if either one moved, their wounds would bleed out and they'd die. Then they pass out again, and now it's morning time. The third day is done, and the war is finally over. They patch things up, and we finally see Sasuke cry for someone that isn't Itachi. Sakura goes to patch them up, Sasuke apologizes to her, and Team 7 is finally back together, with Sasuke's quest for vengeance finally over. It may have taken a war, but Sasuke was finally back in the village. Then, of course, the first thing he does after parole is leave the village. Wow. Anyways, I personally enjoyed the war arc quite a bit, but it was a tad disorganized, and everything was a bit all over the place, and the power scaling just went through the roof. And the ass pulls were just never mind. I thought I'd make a video in case anyone needed to navigate through the war arc, looking for a timeline or for when a specific event occurred. If you know someone like that, then make sure you forward this video to them. Drop a like, comment, subscribe, and till next time.